Welcome, everybody. Good morning and a good Voch Sunday. Today we are in Yud Test of. The Hebrew day today, the real date is Yud Test of. And this means that Elul is in a little bit more than 10 days. And we are entering the third trimester of the month of Av in the Jewish year. So that's the day today, Yud Test of, 19th of Av. Now, the previous Amud, we learned a certain halacha. There was a very, very good question that was asked by one of the participants who's on Zoom. And I'd like to review and then answer the question to the best of my ability, Blineder. And then we can continue to our Mishnah, where we're holding now in Kuf Aleph Amud Beis. So yesterday we learned, the previous year on Thursday, we learned that if a person, if a field in Eretz Yisrael was stolen by a goy, and now the person that works the land as a sharecropper is the son of the family, yeah, the field should really belong to him, but it's held by a goy who wouldn't budge, okay? We said that this person, as a sharecropper, there's a special knas on him that he should not pay. He should take meiser not just from his own part, he should take meiser from all the produce together, as if the field is completely his, and then give from the net worth, after taxes, as they say, yeah. After he gave the meiser, then he gives a part to the goy. Why is that? We said, what wrong did he do? And we answered, didn't do anything wrong. But we are trying to get the land out of the hands of the goy. We want Jewish land to be owned by Jewish people, and that's the right way. Definitely enough is a ganav, even worse, the goy. Then we said that what? Knas, you, Mr. Land, the real landowner, the one that should have the hands in his land in his hands, you really feel attached to the place, you care about the place, that's why you work there as an olis, right? And therefore, we know you would like to either keep working it as a sharecropper or you'd buy it off him. You're not buying it off him, you just let things happen. So Chomi made the knas, which is more like a gzera, takona, that what? You're going to pay. As long as you're a worker, you're going to pay big money. You're going to pay Meiser, you're going to give Meiser more than the other sharecroppers in other fields. And those expenses will force you, it's going to hurt you in the pocket. You'll just buy it off him, right? Instead of just giving him half and taking Meiser from everything, you'll buy it off him once and for all. There would be an incentive to buy it. Other people, you wouldn't incentivize them because any other don't care about their land. So Jeff was asking the question, what's the difference? If he doesn't listen to the takana of Chazal, and because according to the Rach, Chazal made a takana that nobody should work in the field, right? No other Jew should work in that field. He may not listen to that takana and may yes work in the field because it's his father's land, and you'll just have Yetzer Hara to work there. Mashain can, when they're going to tell him to take Meiser, is going to listen to Chazal and take Meiser from the whole thing. So Jeff is asking, what's the difference? Either listens to Chazal or he doesn't. If he doesn't listen to Chazal, he won't listen. He's going to work there and also not take all the Meiser. Yeah, and if he does listen to the Chazal, then he won't go and work there to begin with. So the answer is Lanius Dati. I didn't see any answer. I didn't see it anywhere. Maybe I should have looked better. I didn't see. I think the answer is like that. If Chazal just tell you don't do something and it's a Chazal invention, it's a Takonos Chazal, there's like a Pachkevil, like you told me, the Litvish Oilim, there's a Pachkevil, don't go to this and that, don't do this and that. So people start saying, we either listen, it's not right to do that. But reality is not everyone listens to every Takonot Chazal that was invented, so to speak, by Rov or Rabbonim, one sunny day. The Shenken Meister is really Doraisa. Chazal modified the Doraisa and they told him, your mitzvah Doraisa is to give Meister not from just your part, but from everything. If Chazal have their own tweak on the Doraisa, then people are much more scared because taking Meiser, from certain produce in certain times is Doraisa. I think that's the answer because we see it many times. People treat Zeres Chazal differently, whether it's a completely Chazaldika thing or it's a modification of the Torah, which should take more seriously. Kach nir on daiti. At this happy note, let's start the Mishnah. Oh. Says the Mishnah. Today's topic is schirus, which means rent. Yeah, people rent apartments, flats, offices, factories all over the world all the time, and therefore we have to know halachically how to behave, when it comes to landowner renters relationship. Says the Heilige Mishnah, "Hamaskir bais lechavero b'moiseg shomim." A person who rented a house to his friend in a rainy season, ein yochel lotzio min hachag v'ad Pesach. He cannot evict him, cannot take him out of the place, cannot let him go out of, force him out of the house between Chag, which is Chag, Sukkot, very good, until Pesach. The first day of Sukkot is called already winter. The reason why we don't daven for the rain is because technically, so to speak, we don't want rain in the Sukkah because, that's uncomfortable. And as the Mishnah in Sukkah says, it's like the servant who gives the water, and the Odin splashes it back on his face. But really, halachically, here we see that clearly that the rainy season halachically is called from Tes Vav, what? Tishrei, until Pesach, until Tes Vav Nisan. So you're not allowed to evict people during the rainy season, and everything will be explained, and we're going to know why. So now, I'll tell you already why now, because during the winter season, and that's also reality today, it's harder for the person who was kicked out to find a new place. It's much harder to rent a house in the winter because people in the winter usually don't leave their homes because it's rainy and yachi. People don't want to move houses in the winter, as always also today, as far as I know. And therefore, during the winter time, if you evict the person, he's going to be homeless and it will be harder for him and his family to find a place. So you don't, evict him, kick him out during the winter. B'moy sachama, shloishim yoim. B'moy sachama, you're not allowed to let him out of your place for 30 days. What do you mean for 30 days? Sounds like what? Let's say I started the rental on Chaf Tammuz, then I have to let him stay there at least 30 days from Chaf Tammuz till Chaf Av. That's 30 days later, more or less. And then, before that, I cannot kick him out until 30 days are up. Of course, there are many, many questions here. I'm just translating the Mishnah. Ubekrochim, up until now, we spoke about small places, either kforim or ayoros, villages or small towns. However, bekrochim are metropolitan places where you have shops and it's busy and it's bustling, big cities. In a big city, it's always hard to find a place to rent for a decent amount of money because everyone wants to live there. Everyone wants to have the urban, busy life where you're close to your office and close to your shops. And therefore, it's hard to find a place. So you can't do that to a person, to evict him from your house during Yemois Chama or Gshomim, regardless whether winter or summer. Even in the summer, you're not allowed to kick him out until 12 months are up. Only after he's there for 12 months, then he can be told to leave, to ship out. However, if the person is renting a shop, up until now we spoke about houses, residential rental. Now we're talking about chanuyos, about shops. The person is a shopkeeper, shop owner, and he rented the shop. Like today, all the shopping centers, most of them, they're rented out. So b'chanuyos, echad ayoros, echad krochim, if the person rents out a chanut, a shop, either it's in a small town or in a big town, 12 chodesh, you have to give him 12 months time before you evict him, before you kick him out. Why? Because 12 chodesh is a person who's a shopkeeper. Today it's not so common. It used to be very, very common when I was a child in Israel that the shopkeeper gives you credit. Lirshom al cheshbon, I don't know, people are olim, not very chadashim. You don't know about that in Israel. So, what? Which 3 years notice? What 3 years notice? We're not there yet. Yeah, 1 year notice. Okay, 1 year notice. So you give the person. So now, most people remember the good old times and the chenvani alpin kosoy, as we call it. The person, the shopkeeper. What about him? The shopkeeper only would get his money back if him and the customer see each other, right? In other words, if he would close shop literally, very suddenly, he's not going to see his money again. He's going to move to a different town, different area. Customers and him are not going to, go run after them. So that's why we give him 12 months, 12 months notice or 12 months time to stay. So he should be able to wrap things up, and also he would many times give the people 12 months credit. That's another point. You would give people not just 1 month, like it used to be, I don't know, accepted in Israel, but 12 months notice. He would give his customers. So you, the landowner, have to give him 12 months notice. You know, exactly what's going on, and we're going to see in the Gemara. Is it notice? Is it speaking out? We'll see that. But the time is 12 months. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel argues and says, if the shop, if the nature of the shop is a shop that sells nachtoimim, that is bread, bakery, or what, saboim, paint shop, people who sell paint, they, from some reason, unbeknown to me, that those people would have 3 years because they give longer credit. They, to their customer, give longer credit, so they have to be around in order to be able to collect the debt 3 years. So let's just, all we did now was translating the Mishnah. I have no idea right now, before seeing the Gemara, what's going on here. What do you mean not to evict a person, the entire winter? What was the contract? Was the contract from Tishra till Tishra next year? Of course you can't evict him. And if the agreement was 1 month, then of course you can evict him. The Chatchila is supposed to be a 1 month. It's going to stay over time. What's going on, right? Of course, the question is very obvious, yeah. But so far, we only deal with the words. So again, let's just summarize Bigadol. So if it's winter time, whatever evicting means, whatever the background story is, we're going to learn very soon. Let's just get the facts first, yeah. What did the Mishnah say? If it's winter time, let's just get emotional here. You can't kick out the person to the rain with his little kindalach, or even if it's not raining and it's not little kindalach, at the end of the day, you can't kick out a person because it's very hard for him to find another apartment during the winter. It's not hot season. It's not high time for renting, so you just won't find a new place. You can't let him out in the middle of the winter. When it comes to summer, then you can, as long as he's there for 1 month, either notice or kick, whatever that means. 1 month, yeah, you give him 1 month's notice or 1 month's time to stay there. At the end of the month, ship up or ship out. Yeah, in other words, after a month, then goodbye, mister. It's summertime is hot season, is prime time. Everyone rents in and rents out. You'll easily find another place. Get out of my sight, excuse my language, and get another place. That's in the summer. When is that true? Only in the small places, and only if it is what? Not a business, right? Only if it's residential in a small place. But in a big city, it's always 12 months. In a big city, it's always hard to find rental. It's very high. It's hard to find rental in big cities in Yerushalayim, Tel Aviv. They all have to share apartments, 3 or 4 people together. Yeah, to find a decent place is very hard, and therefore you have to give him time, whatever that means, of 12 months before you can say goodbye to your unwanted renter. That's 12 months. And also, if it's a shop anywhere, big or small place, but it's a shop. In a shop, it's again, a person has to stay in his shop because he gave credit to his customers. They buy the milk and the bread and the eggs and whatever, the chetulim. So what? So he gave them credit of 12 months, and he has to be seen by them and see them interact to be able to get his money back. He can't leave his shop in the middle. That's not good for his business. So we always give him 12 months. And according to Shimon Gamliel, certain businesses such as bakeries and paint shops is 3 years. Thank you, Atzlacha. I think I asked your questions for you, right? What's going on here? Was there an agreement? Was there no agreement? What do you mean to evict him? What was? Yeah, we're not in a vacuum here. Frag the Gemara. That's not the Gemara's question, though. The Gemara has a different question. And the Gemara at this point assumes that there was an agreement. Let me tell you a little secret from Rashi. Rashi says, no, let's assume that there was an unclear agreement, which is usually the case in the Mishnayos, because that's when halacha has to come in when things are not clear. Yeah, but it happens a lot. So let's say there was an agreement, and they made a very nice contract, but instead of writing dates from Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan to Rosh Chodesh Adar Beis, they wrote the rental agreement is for the winter. Winter. Imoisek Shomim. Yeah, that's what they wrote. I'm here for the winter. What does winter mean? Frag the Gemara, Ma'ishna Imoisek Shomim. What's the difference when it comes to the wintry season, to the rainy season? If a person said, I'm renting for the winter, ogar, but the word ogar is going to be mentioned a lot over here. Ogar doesn't mean to live, as some people think. Ogar means to rent. Agra, rental. Yeah, agar is always rental. A person who rents a place for the winter, When a person says the rainy season, halacha interferes and says, you know how we translate rainy season? We mean to say the entire rainy season. Because people are arguing, so, well, rainy. Oh, well, in Purim, it doesn't rain anymore. And I don't know, it was very sunny the past week, says Mr. Landlord. He wants him out, yeah? So, no, we say when a person means the Moiseg Shamim, we translate that as, like lawyers do. This means that right at the beginning of the contract. So we say, Moiseg Shamim means the entire Moiseg Shamim all the way for Pesach. The first 2 weeks of Nisan were nice and sunny. We don't care. We don't go by flexibility. Yemosek Shomi, we just gave a translation, a definition. Yemosek Shomi means all the way from Sukkot's first day all the way to the first day of Pesach. If so, if that's what he means, Yemosek Hamanami, first wide line. If so, the Yemosek Hama, if I wrote the summer season, also the Chioga Inish Besa, Lekula Masachama, Oga, same thing. What's the difference? If you're just being very nice and very legal and clear and defined, and you tell me Moisek Shomi means the entire season, so to Moisek Chama means the entire season. Why can you kick him out after a month? Why, when it comes to summer, all of a sudden 1 month you tell him, poof, yeah, ship out? Why? Same thing. He probably means he wants stability. And Moisek Chama means all the way until Sukkot, until the first day of Sukkot. What's the difference? Ella must be, and now we're changing gears completely. According to Rashi, there's big machlokes rishonim, there's huge machlokes rishonim in the sugya, and I will tell you both ways. Now we are following Rashi. Says Rashi, we're talking here the same old story of unclear agreements. So the person came to you. It's not science fiction. It can happen today too. This is a friend who came from England, who came from America, and he wants to stay in Israel, and you have a rental unit. And it's not so clear whether it's pilot trip, he's already making aliyah, his family's coming, not coming, he's half divorced, half married, half this, whatever. It's not so clear what's going on. We want to help him. So you say, stay in my house. And they say, okay, I'll pay you and I'll rent it from you. You're such good friends, and you didn't really specify when is he supposed to actually leave, right? So he's there for 1 month. You do know, and I'm basing myself on Rishonim, that this is a monthly kind of rental. As we all know, it's very common in this neighborhood. Some people own short-term rentals, and Allah actually discusses that. Now we're talking about long-term rentals, which are at least a month. It's not a hotel room, yeah. It's not a zimmer in the Galil. You stay for maybe 3 days and you go. We're talking about the units here. You have to remember are month. Yeah, it's monthly units. It either stays 1 month, or 3 or 4, or a year, or a few years. But it's a monthly rental place, and it wasn't clear when he's supposed to leave. Yeah, he keeps staying. He's willing to give you more and more money. And he says, no, I want to stay. I want to stay in your house until I settle down, until my family comes, until my new wife comes, until my kids get to school. He wants, and I'm willing to pay you good money every month. And you say, no, I want you out. And there was no clear agreement. You made a contract, but the contract was not clear about how long it's going to last for. Let's say that is the assumption right now. There was no time yet that was defined. So now, the Moiseg Shomim in the wintry season, time, the reason why you cannot evict him and say, ship out, the lo shchiach beisa lemega. Oh, in other words, that's a difference. Lo shchiach, what's lo shchiach? Common, very good. Shchiach is common. You speak Hebrew better than Israelis, very good. It's not common to rent houses. The houses are not easily found to be rented, and therefore, since you're unclear, there's no clear agreement, so nobody can stand on pointed toward the contract. You say, I want you out. I have other rentals. I have other things to do. I just don't like the smell of your pajamas. I don't know. I don't want you to be there. And he says, no, I want to stay here and I'm paying you. So if it's winter, you cannot evict him because that's against renters' rights. Because the Mishnah is all about renters' rights. We're going to see other renters' rights later. And therefore, in the winter, it's not common. You're stuck with him until when? Until Pesach. Masha'en can, if it's summer, you can tell him, listen, mister, it's been 1 month. Goodbye and not au revoir. You are, thank you, goodbye. It's been nice. Let's stay good friends. Get out of my sight. That's after 1 month. You can tell them that I have nowhere to be. I'm in lots of places to be. In the summer, it grows like the summer flowers. The apartments are all there to rent. Just pick one and leave me alone. And that is what the Mishnah says. So it seems to be now. At this point, can be evicted, cannot be evicted. What about an agreement? There was no agreement. As usually is the case in the Mishnah. If so, frag the Gemara, that would make sense, but there's a problem here. Ema Seifa. we speak about the Seifa. Look what the Seifa says. Ema Seifa says the Seifa. What did we say in the Seifa in the last part of the Mishnah? The Krochim. If we're talking about big cities, big towns where it's hard to find a place to stay, either winter or summer or winter, it's always 12 months. You can never let him out. You cannot evict him, no, until 12 months are over. Only after 12 months, let's say it was an unclear agreement. The unclear agreement automatically means 12 months. What does that mean? Why? Oh, it's a big city. In a big city, it will take you much longer to find his way. He's renting in Manhattan, I don't know where, big places, London, takes a long time. So give him more time to breathe. Give him 12 months before you can say goodbye. And it wasn't clear what the agreement is. Wait a second. Let's say the rental time is up. Let's say there was no clear rental, but he started this interesting saga when Hanukkah. He came to Eretz Yisrael, Hanukkah time. So then 12 months after Hanukkah is what? Is Chafei before Kislev, Cheshvan. Chafei Cheshvan, you tell him goodbye. What? Chafei Cheshvan? It's raining in the street. And you kick him out to the street, to the rainy street in Chafei Cheshvan with a little Zisa Kinderlach. Excuse me, how is that allowed? Mapi Clay, he is letting him out, he's evicting him. Vamai, why? How can he do that to him? Houses are not commonly found. They're not shechiach. So if you hold that it's against human rights and it's against renters' rights to let him out in the middle of the winter, then why is 12 months so the number? 12 months can sometimes end in an extremely rainy night in the middle of the winter, and you tell him, you and your little kinderlach, out. Yeah, like the story of the Chofetz Chaim. The guy died. Yeah, the Chofetz Chaim said he will be punished because he kicked an almono in the middle of the winter. The Chofetz Chaim said, I feel bad for the guy. He'll be punished, and he was punished. What was a klolo? Chofetz Chaim knew that if you hurt people's feelings, then you get punished in Olam Hazeh, as opposed to Ben Odom Lamokim, it's Olam Haba. That's a different story. But Lamai said the question is, if we're into renters' rights, don't evict. I prefer using a nicer word. Don't evict people in the middle of the winter. So Mishnah does support that. So what's going on here? Here comes the big Machlokas Rashi and the Rosh and the Rif. I'm following Rashi at the beginning and then the Rif. Omar of Yehuda. Lohidia Ktani, completely new story. Nobody here talks about evicting. And according to Rashi, there was a clear agreement. Rashi is the big Chiddush. Rashi says there was a clear agreement. Our rental is from X till Y. I don't care. At the moment, actually, I don't even care if it's winter or summer, but we know that the agreement was up, was going to be over. Yeah, your rental is going to be, time will be up in, pick your date, in Yutes Av, which is today. So, of course, he'll be out. Well, we all know that many rentals at the end of the year, do they all go out? No. Many times they ask for what? Extension. It's very common today too. And every year or every 2 years, an extension, higher price, lower price, other conditions. Many times you extend it, right? You extend the rental. That's the name of the game, according to Rashi. Says Rashi, unbelievable. I'll tell you what Rashi says before the Gemara. And the story is like this. The renter has a right to stay there and extend his rental legally and pay you money and insist in staying in his his apartment, in his residential place, unless you, what's lahodia in Hebrew? Very good. Unless you informed him X amount of time in advance. Let's say 1 month in the summer. If you, it works the other way around. If you want your renter not to stay there and extend it against your will, with paying money, but against your will, you have to take the initiative. You're the motzi mechaveru keilu, and a month in advance, you have to tell him, listen, mister, phone call, WhatsApp, email, meeting, I'm letting you know a month in advance that there is no extension option. But if you miss those 30 days, he'll be able to stay another 30 days. Get it? Let's say I want him to be out of the Rosh Chodesh Elul. Elul! It's all the reality, yeshiva. I want my sons to come from yeshiva, my married daughter. I want Rosh Chodesh Elul out. I want him out. Then, and I don't care how long he was there before. Summertime, I have to tell him Rosh Chodesh of, you start being said the 9 days. Ooh, put a reminder on your calendar. Tell Mr. Renter 30 days before time is up that he will not be able to extend the the rental. If it's base of, then he'll tell you, late. You missed the time, he'll still your Rosh Hashanah. And then fly to Uman. I'm joking. Yeah, get it? In other words, no, that's going to be later. Leave me alone for later. No, leave me alone. I mean, say, yeah, that will be discussed. No, it's 30 days units. Yeah, it's not a moving window. Like, no, we'll see that later. That will be a discussion. But that's the point according to Rashi. So now let's read the Gemara. Now, what's the difference between summer and winter then? The Hachika Omar. This is what the Mishnah means to say. Hamaskir ba'es lechavero is stam. Stam is not a good word for Rashi. I don't know how Rashi deals with the word. Maybe it's not goyresit. Lamais, according to Rashi, it's not stam. Unless stam means that we didn't say whether the will. Yeah. Very good. Good. With your inspiration to get it better. You rented it to your friend, and there was a very good agreement, very good contract. Stam means it wasn't clear whether there will be an option for extension or not. We didn't say there will be extension, won't be extension. Extension wasn't mentioned. We don't know. Then he has the upper hand in halacha, renter's rights. You're not allowed to evict it. What do you mean to evict? Time is up. No, time is up, but he wants to stay longer. And you did not warn him in advance. You have to warn him in advance in order to be able to get him out when you want. What's in advance? That's the difference between Shomim and Chama, between winter and summer. The Moiseg Shomim Michag V'ad Pesach. The Moiseg Shomim, my friend, is not 30 days block, is a block of 6 months. Ooh. Which means. What is, you tell me, guys, what is the latest Hebrew date in the calendar? Let's say I want the guy out of there. It's been enough time. Every time he has issues with his leaking and shmik, I don't like him anymore. Goodbye. I want other things to do there. And he's been there for X amount of time. And I don't want him to extend the period of rental into the winter. When would be the last date in the year that I should tell him that? Tesvov. Bingo. Tesvov Elul. Very good. Middle of Elul, middle of learning Musar. Tesvov Elul, you have to tell him, Mr. Quick email, strongly worded, WhatsApp calls and things. Tesvov Elul, I'm not interested in extension. If it's Zayin Elul, then how long will he stay there? 6 months, till the end of Pesach. You missed it by a day, it's a block of 6 months, Agan Sazach. Now, however, if it's summer, no, summer is easier for him to find a place, Baruch Hashem, and therefore when it comes to summer, it's 1 month. In other words, if I want him out of there in Rosh Chodesh Sivan, then what? 1 month before Rosh Chodesh Sivan, Rosh Chodesh Iyar is when I should tell him that. Not more than that. He should have a 30 days notice, advance notice, 30 days notice before his time is up. And for the summer, we work by 30 days. In the winter, it's one block of one long, as they say, long and cold winter. That's it in halacha. It's one block. That's according to Rashi. Tani Nami Hachi says a brisa that supports that, a brisa to support that understanding of the Mishnah. Shamru Shloishim, when they spoke about 30 days. Ukshamru Shneimasa Chodesh, when they spoke about 12 months. And by the way, now we also understand about the 12 months in the shop. Let's stop for a second. What was the problem? The shop? No problem. Of course he can be evicted in the winter, as long as he was warned in advance. I have no problem of him leaving my house in the middle of the wintry night. Don't give me the sad face and dog polish face. No, I told you well in advance. If it's a shopkeeper and he has to go out in the middle of the winter, in the middle of Tavis, very cold and very bad, you had a 12 months notice. 12 months notice is enough time for you to arrange your debts, find yourself a new place. 12 months is a very long time, Speak to people who are in jail, 12 months or people engaged, 12 months is a long time, and therefore you had enough time to take care of yourself. Don't give me that, blaming look now, because you had time. It's not about kicking out. It's okay to kick out anytime as long as there was enough time pre-warning. In the summer, 1 month. In the winter, 6 months. 30 days before the 6 months block. And if it's a shop, regardless when it is, a shop or in the big city, I'm sorry, both, either a regular shop or big city, then you have to have 12 months notice in advance. When would you leave? Summer, winter, spring, or fall. I don't care. You had enough notice. You should have dealt with it, mister. And that is what the Mishnah says. They only said that regarding notifying, not regarding evicting. Evicting is always legal if you tell him in advance, and is never legal if you don't tell him in advance, right? And he can stay. He can stay. Let's say he told the shopkeeper, I want you out of there in 3 months, in 4 months, and he's a regular shopkeeper, and he has a lot of people writing on the pinkas. He can say, no, I'm staying and I'm paying you. He'll go to BSD. BSD say, no, he will stay. And really, he's going to stay. And of course, he has to pay you, right? The same amount of money. We're going to discuss fluctuation price later. That's Rashi. That's Rashi. Excuse me. If you open Shulchan Aruch, you would think that I'm a liar. But Shulchan Aruch usually doesn't follow Rashi. Shulchan Aruch follows the opinion of the Rif and the Rosh, as usual. He usually does, not always. The Rif and the Rosh say otherwise. They say no. They say if there was a written agreement or clear, otherwise clear agreement, that his time is up in Chaf Tammuz, yeah, then you can let it, then time's up. And he wants to stay, it's his problem. Nobody spoke about, in other words, they believe more in the owner's rights and landlord rights. It was written and said clearly with Edim, your time is up in Chaf Tammuz, Tafshin Pei Hey. Yeah? Chaf Tammuz, Tafshin Pei Hey. I want your suitcases and your stuff out of there. You want an extension? You should have told me. No, no extension. Unlike Rashi. Elamai, we're talking here about Stam. Stam means there was no clear agreement. Oh, let's say there was no clear agreement, right? And let's say that the time was Chaf Tammuz because he believes there was a time. It wasn't clearly written. It wasn't clearly said when is the time over. Then you have to give him enough time in advance to leave the place. Very simple. There was no agreement. If there was an agreement, then both sides should respect it and no extension is expected, right? However, if there was no written agreement and you come to him one sunny day, the friend came from America and you're kind-hearted, you used to be friends when he came in, now he's overstaying his welcome, but there was nothing written, nothing said, nothing clearly said when his time up. You felt bad, and your friends from school, you don't. And then what happened? You feel it's too much already. You have other ideas for that apartment. Then you tell him, in a week's time, you're leaving. No, because I'm not leaving in a week. If we talk about units of 30 days, you can say, no, I'm leaving in 30 days. I have nowhere else to be. You can't just kick me out. And of course, I'll pay you for the next month. Of course, he has to pay. If he doesn't pay, you kick him out. But he has to pay. And there was just no agreement. It's a stamp situation. But the dates are exactly like Rashi. If it's winter, tough luck for the landlord. And we tell the landlord, if there's no clear agreement, you better, pull your socks on in Tesvav Elul and tell him, it's Tesvav Elul. I'm telling you, you have to be out of here before, or maybe I would have said Yudalid, you're right, but no. It's Tesvav Yudalid Elul. In a month's time, I want you out of here, please. It's been very nice, very thing. Get your act together in a month. And then if not, if it's one day into there, boom, then he's going to stay there all 6 months because there was no agreement about the date. But if there was an agreement about the date, he cannot force you to extend. And Allah is like the Rif and the Rosh, not like Rashi. So we have renters' rights. You can't just kick him out, out of nowhere. Yeah, even though there was no clear agreement, or because there was no clear agreement, Misken, he doesn't know where to go. You have to give him a month or an entire winter. And if it's a shop, it's 12 months. If it's a big city, it's 12 months. 1 second. Now, one more important halacha. All very nice. As we know, Yiddishkeit, as opposed to the liberal nonsense of today, everyone has rights and everyone has duties. Not just one group has rights. Yeah. So now, just like there are renters' rights, there's also landlord rights. Continues the Gemara. Just like the landlord has to be moidia, inform the guy, listen, in 30 days, I kindly request you to please leave, but that has to be at least a month in advance, at least, right? If not 6 months or 12. So too, the renter also has to tell him. The renter also has to let him know. Again, let's go with the Rif and the Rosh now. There's no clear agreement. Everything is fuzzy and cloudy over here and nebulous. And what? And we say, we don't know, the Secher all of a sudden found a better place, cheaper, and he's leaving you high and dry a day or 3 weeks before. That's not fair. I can force him to stay another month. He should have informed me before he leaves the same amount of time. Why? The Omer Lei, because the landlord tells the renter, Iodatan, had you told me, I would have worked. I would have put a good guy there instead of you. Yeah. I would have put the Inish Mali, I would put something nice. I would put a good renter there. Now you left me high and dry. I have no ability to find another person in less than a month for exactly the same reason. If the market is low, it works both ways. Yeah, nobody's leaving their warm homes in the winter, so I'm not going to find a person with those 6 months. Therefore, you are now jailed in my apartment for 6 months, and you're going to pay me because you did not tell me in advance you're leaving. It works exactly the same, just a mirror image of that. One more line, and then I'll listen to you, Baruch. Omar Avasi, this was our question from before. Oh, how does those units work of 30 days? Im nichnas yom echad b'moiseg shomim, eino yochel otzio min hachag v'ad Pesach. If, I'm just translating now, if one day came in, if there's like an entry, if there was kilo invasion, so to speak, there's one extra day in Moiseg Shomim, meaning what? The first day of Sukkot was not informed, stuck. You cannot evict him all the way from Chag until Pesach. We said 30 days, not one day. The Havamina Gemara thought that he rented it for one day. If he rented it for one day, maybe it takes 30 days. Or maybe the Gemara thought like you. Maybe it's a moving window. Let's say I told him, let's say I was late. I told him when? In Chaf Elul, right? About Chaf, Sukkah, not Chaf Tishrei, Chaf Tishrei, in Chaf Tishrei. Maybe then it's good enough. Yeah, because it's not a whole month. We spoke about units of months. This is one day. And it says, Gemara, no, Hachikomer. That's what we say. If, in other words, it's not that we rented it for one day. I'd like my first shot better, actually. It's not that I rented it for a day. I told him, you're renting for a day, and then he's stuck the whole winter. I have nowhere to go. No, obviously not. If one day out of the 30, we have whole units of 30 days, and that's like a moving unit of 30 days, mitzad that, if you missed Tesvav, Elul, and you informed him to Zayin Elul, so one day, boom, of those 30 days entered the danger zone of winter, stuck for the entire winter. You cannot evict him in a Chag V'ad Pesach. One day, yeah, because it's part of an older agreement. He didn't start, in other words, the Havamina was, he started the agreement or Shchoide and Sukkot, and we spoke about one day. If I told you, listen, many people actually rent out the houses on Sukkot, right? Yeah, if I told the rich American guy came to Yerushalayim for one day of Sukkot or 1 week, and we said 1 day, 1 week, even Rashi would agree, Avada, after a week, go home, go back to Lakewood, Shkoyach. Mashenken, if that one day is the end tail of 30 days, and he was already a renter from before, from the summer, and now he has 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, and the last unit of 30 days, without being informed, already entered, already exceeded into what? Into the winter. Oh, stuck. You have 1 foot through the wrong door. The winter, the entire winter, you have to have him there because you did not inform him well in advance. Yes. Prepare for a surprise. Amar Avuna. What about if the prices went higher or lower? Amar Rav Asi. Excuse me. No. Amar Avuna. The imbal rabos bedamea malbe. Let's say the person tells him, listen, I have no problem with you being here, and I am interested in you leaving now, less than 30 days. I want you to leave soon. You know why? Because you have to pay me more, and you're refusing. I want a higher price. I have no problem with you being here. Well, you're not interested in giving me a higher price? Ship out now. Ship up the price, or ship out in a week. I want more money now, and then he's allowed to do. In other words, he's allowed to ask him for more money. And if he refuses to give more money, then he'll be evicted even earlier than the standards of the Mishnah. Everyone's surprised. Listen to the words of the Gemara. You won't believe it. Omer Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman says, isn't that called forcing him out? Hi, linkete bekuvse delishvike leglima. It's as if he's holding him, excuse the language, by his testicles in order to take out the glima. In other words, let's say a robber wants to take the glima, the jacket, the robe out of someone's back, and he's a robber, and he's being very nice to him, just holding, the Gemara says, not me, yeah? Kuf says like kvisa, that's hanging. Kvisa is like laundry that's hanging in a sack. So too, he's holding him in his, Rashi says the word beitzim, He's holding him in the beitzim and says, "Can you please give me your glima?" In other words, it's an offer you cannot refuse. It's very gentlemanly and nice. Yeah. And he's like, can you please give it to me? And I'll give it to you. Yeah. In other words, that's a way of forcing. Yeah, I think the Gemara is using such a lashon instead of saying twisting your arm, which is nicer because it's hidden. It's more of a hidden. Nobody sees that. I think that's the reason. It's a hidden threat. And the same thing over here. You're not calling that forcing him out. Of course, it's forcing. The guy can't afford it. He paid only 10,000 shekels for his small apartment in Ramat Eshkol. Now you're forcing him 12,000. The guy's in Kolel. It's another way of evicting him. It's an elegant way of engineering him out. So how can you tell me that that's not called, forcing him out? How is that allowed? Instead of forcing him with a gun, you're forcing him with money. But you're forcing him out, so why is that okay? Without telling him 30 days in advance. Answers the Gemara. Oh, here again, there's a whole story. The Pashup Pshat is all rent in all the houses in the entire neighborhood went up, and everybody knows that. Is not Stam telling him, I want you out of here, and a good excuse to do that is, heightening the price, rather than you are staying with the old price. Well, originally, the price when you came in, the price was lower everywhere, and all of Ramat Eshkol was only 10,000 shekels for a matchbox. So nice. And now, everyone's paying what? It's been already a while. Everyone's paying 13,000 for a matchbox in Ramat Eshkol, and so should you. And you should know about it, mister. Don't give me that misken look. And therefore, if you're not giving me another 3,000 next month and you're refusing, then leave now. This is something you should appreciate too. I'm not forcing you out. I'm asking what's demanded. Now, says the halacha. I saw Shulchan Aruch yesterday actually. Shulchan Aruch says if they had an old clear agreement, you like clear agreements, very good. If there was a clear agreement that from Tishrei Tafshin Pei Gimel Yud Aleph Tishrei Tafshin Pei Gimel Til Yud Aleph Tishrei Tafshin Pei Dalid, we're going to have the rental of 10,057 agorot, whatever. And then even the price went up in the middle, he cannot evict him because it was clear price all the way. That's Shulchan Aruch has to tell me that. Mashenken, again, unclarity. If it wasn't clear, the price. We said the price. The Balpes said 10,000. But they were not clear, or they said, 10,000 depending on the conditions, or Bekitzer, there was unclarity again. Then you can say, even in the middle of the term, I did not say 10,000 forever. We were good friends. We spoke about the whole year rental, and we said about that, 10,000 makes sense for now. It became 10,000, the norm between us the first few months. And then I wake up and I say, look, 6 years later, boom, it went up to 13,000. We never signed and said clearly 10. In that case, in the middle of the rental, even because there was no clear agreement about 10. You're playing too much, as you play as you go. Then what? Prices went up. Then you can actually tell him. I'm not saying halacha l'maisa. This is behind the Shulchan Aruch. Maybe tomorrow we're going to see some halachas here because it's trying to get halacha. But basically, you can let him out in the middle of the term. You can say no 30 days notice. Everybody knows that the prices went up, and I don't have to lose. Then it can let you out. Maybe you should give him a day or two. I don't know, to pack up his suitcases. But I don't have to wait the whole month and lose. Definitely not 6 months or 12 months. Yeah, because the prices went up all over. Yes, I'm hearing your question. Let me add that. Says Shulchan Aruch works the other way around too. Let's say the prices went down, and you keep me up with a high price, renter's rights. I can tell you I'm leaving with no 30 days notice. I know, everybody knows the prices went down. That also happens sometimes, deflation, science fiction. Let's say it happens. The neighborhood became a bad neighborhood and nobody wants to rent there, right? The prices go down. That can also happen. And you staying with the 13,000, everyone else is asking for 9,000. Bye, I'm leaving tomorrow because, again, there was no clear agreement. We pay as we go, kind of thing, and therefore I'm not staying with a high price. Same thing the other way. It's very much mutual and egalitarian over here between the maskir and the soicher. Now we're coming to talk about all kinds of things that can happen to renters. And for example, let's just start Pshita. One thing we know for sure clearly, nofal le beisa. In other words, we're going to see other cases now in which there are surprise cases, and all of a sudden a renter gets a harsh and rushed, unexpected notice. You have to leave your house, my house, which I rent to you, leave it now. Sometimes it's legal. How could that be? Nofal lei besa. Let's say maskil, the maskil lives in one house, the landlord, and the seicher in a different one, obviously. Now, the maskil's house fell suddenly. You know something? In 2023, does that ever happen? Oh, yeah. There was fire, there was earthquake, there was flooding, there was schmudding, there was rats, there was things. The whole house collapsed in an hour. That lo a bomb. And what? Very, very suddenly, very unexpectedly, Mr. Landlord is homeless now. Get it? He wants to stay in his own house that's rented to Mr. Renter. Omerle, he may kick him out ASAP. Says Mr. Landlord to the renter, Lo yadifat minoi, you're not better than me. You're talking to me about, oh, why should I be in the street? Why should I be in the street? It's hard to find rent. Yeah, it's hard to find rent for me too. You should have told me. I should have told you. I may be a very firm guy. I'm not a prophet. I had no idea that there will be an earthquake all of a sudden in Turkey, and I live in Turkey. I had no idea that fire is going to break. They never break it. What are you talking about? I had no idea. Since it's unexpected, and renters, the renter and landlord in the same page, not same page, in the same shtoch, same situation, you get out of my house and you find a place, even in the middle of the rental. Even in the middle of the rental, because we don't say that the renter's rights are higher than the owner himself. Let me live in my house. Why should I look for a place? You look for a place, and there's no way I knew about it in advance. Second case. Now comes a question. No. Now comes not a question yet. That case is poshut. That is not even a question. We're preparing for the question. Case number 2. Zabne or ote uyahavi b'matono. We had that many times. He sold it. Let's say you have a house in Yerushalayim, good for you, and you have a renter. They're a good, nice old renter for years. You sold it to someone. Yeah, now the guy is still there. Who's the guy? The renter is there. The house changed hands from you to another owner. Now he has another landlord. Okay, or you happen to die. Happens to people after 120. He was moirish to his children, or maybe even put it in his will while he's still alive. Oh, you have it b'matana. You gave it as a gift to someone. The kids there are new owners. Same renter. He's been renting there for the past 10 years. The renter finds himself one Sunday morning, with a new landlord. Hi, I'm your new landlord. And you know what? I want you out of here now. He was a nice guy, my father, or my benefactor, or my seller. I'm not such a nice guy. I don't like people like you. Out now. Less than 30 days. Can you do that? No way. Omer Lay comes the renter and tells the new landlord, Lo adifat migavra de otis minei. You're not better than the other guy. Just like my old renter had to give me a 30 days notice, or 12 months notice, or 6 months notice, you have it all in your mind, so too, you are the same. Yeah, you have to give me in advance of that amount of time. The same thing. I don't care. It's a new landlord. Does make a difference. Now, I'll tell you even more. If that did happen, the Shulchan Aruch says, and it's more about renters' rights, says the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah, what happens if I sold, that's my house, let's say, I rent it out to Ruvi, and Reuven, he is there, I'm the landowner, and I sold it to a violent goy, or Lolain could be a Yid. Yeah, I sold it to whoever, Abdul Rahman. Abdul Rahman is kicking him out against his will. I have to provide him with a new house, because I sold it to a person who's known to be violent and is going to kick him out, and he did kick him out. It's my responsibility because he paid me in advance. Let's say he paid me in advance 3 months, yeah, Nagid, or even without paying. Yeah, we made an agreement he should be there for 3 months, or let's say all the agreements of the Mishnah, 6 months in the winter, v'chule. So now I'm supposed to provide him a new home until time is up, because really the groma, it's my fault that the guy came and kicked him out. It's a grome. Who cares? It's a groma. I am a chroi to provide him with a roof over his head until Yud Zayin Cheshvan Tafshin Pei Zayin. So I'm responsible. Does make a difference. Does make a difference. Ma kesher. What? Let's say you sold it to that's another shayla. You sold it to a benoy. It's not this. What? A Jew. So a Jew. He sold it to a Jew who's an anas, to a Jew who's a no goodnik, and he kicked him out. You're a chroi because you're supposed to give him a roof over his head. You don't say grom in that case. Now comes the question. Kalalei libre. Oh, very nice. Very, very nice. His son got engaged. Mazel tov. The landlord's son got engaged and everyone's happy. You know who's not so happy at divorce? You know who's not so happy at divorce? With a bit of a mixed up face, a bit ambivalent? Who? The renter. Because the renter knows that sooner or later he'll be kicked out. Why? Because he knows that the son, now there's a new young couple. Why should I pay for my son to rent a place which is expensive? I'll evict you and let my son in. Well, can you tell him 2 weeks in advance? Yeah, let's say it was a very short engagement, 1 month. Yeah, it's winter. And in 1 month, I'm telling you, ship out because my beautiful son and the new kala, they're coming in, the new couple, out of here. What's the story over there? Depends. Kalale libre, kalale is like a kala. He married off his son, as we say. Now I want my son to be in the apartment, and I want you out of there quickly. We have to start decorating the place for the young couple. Chazinan, we see, now we have to gauge the situation. If he had enough time to let him know, regular situation, let's say 30 days. Most engagement, even in Litvish world, are more than 30 days, right? If you had 30 days to let him know, you should have, could have told him well in advance. You should have told him well in advance, and you didn't. Yeah, vim loy. And if not, omerle lo adifas minoi. You're not better than me. Yeah, oh no. Excuse me. No, wrong. You should have told him. In other words, they got engaged Rosh Chodesh. Let's dafka do it winter. Let's do it cool. Cool summer. Summer's before the winter. They got engaged in Rosh Chodesh Elul. What a nice time to get engaged. Chodesh Besula, Akala, Besula, Mehulolo, Rosh Chodesh Elul, they got engaged. Yeah. What's the last time to say for the winter? Tesvav Elul. You had as busy as you are, you had 2 weeks to let him know, right? Until Tesvav Elul. The son got engaged. Mazel tov. Yeah, she's a Shena family, Shena Shidduch. She's the granddaughter of Rosh Hashiva. Yeah. Very nice. I want you out of here. Boom. Okay, good. I told him well in advance before the winter. Then he should, kindly leave and let my son and daughter-in-law move in. And I should have told him, if I did not tell him and I had time to tell him. Engagement was Rosh Chodesh Elul, and I foolishly told him when in Chaf Elul or Yud Zayin Elul. Too late. He's going to stay the 6 months, and I have to now look for an apartment for my son. I missed the boat. I missed the date. The entire Mishnah. The Eloi. Let's say, says the Shulchan Aruch, was a rushed marriage. Rushed. In other words, yeah, they're getting married in less than a month. Corona, the grandmother is sick. She may regret. Shaky teenagers. Could be many reasons why they have to rush the wedding. Corona, my own daughter in Corona, yeah, the date was X. Every week we brought it early, and then every day. Yeah, until she got married in our house, Baruch Hashem, happily married. Yeah, the Corona weddings are very, very erratic. Yeah. And v'chule. I'm still waiting for some of the people to compensate me that I paid them. Yeah, for nothing. The Eloi, yeah. Let's say there was no time to tell him that the wedding is coming very, very soon, and it was a surprise for us too. In other words, it was not an expected marriage. We have to marry them off, let's say, in 2 weeks' time, less than a month. Or Malay, the Balabais, who's the father of the Chosun, can tell the renter, Lo adifas minoi, you're not better than me. I respect your residence rights and rental rights, but why should my son be in the street, or I have to start looking for an expensive apartment in the winter? You should do the same. Unexpected, it was also unexpected for me. My son all of a sudden found a sweetheart, the one, and they want to get married straight away, and you have to, because otherwise their Zayd is going to die on the spot. In Malasot. In such a situation, I'm as surprised as you are, and then we say, then you shall be kindly evicted, and the young couple is moving in even less than a month. Weiter, interesting story, and we have to get to the Mishnah today with 4 minutes. A very, very fascinating story. The big Yesoid. Baruch Hashem. A man bought a boat full of wine, a lot of wine he bought, good for him. He did not find a duchta, a place to place it. He's looking, quite frantically, he's looking for a place for storage. He's looking for a storage room. He doesn't have room in his house. He approached a woman. It's a real life story. He told that woman, Islach duchte leugli. You have a place to rent? I heard you're a lady with place. She was not married. She was a single girl. Do you have a place to rent out to let me have put my wine and rent me storage space? Omale, lo, I'm sorry, I don't. Ozal Kidsha, will you marry me? Oh yeah. So it was Makadisher. It was Makadisher. What? Yeah, yeah, now she has room because it's her house. Her house is his house. I don't know if the marriage was consummated, but Lamaisa, once he's her husband, once he's her Mekadesh, her husband, now all of a sudden she has room in her house. We're in it together, through fire and water, love forever. The wine should be in our house. Then you look what he did. Ozalabes, he went to his house, Tosav Lagita, and he sent her a get. He wrote her a get, Shada Allah, and he sent her a get. In other words, you see what a true love that was, like in the Western world today. They love each other forever, meaning for a week. So he sent her what? He sent her a get because now, once he has the rental place, he thinks that the rental will stay there forever. In the marriage, who needs her? He never really was interested in her. Now she gave him one. She behaved like a good woman. Oslo, she went, Agra Shkuloi, she rented, she hired porters, she hired schleppers, Minei Ube. How did she pay the schleppers? From his own wine. On his expense, she took a pikte v'usve b'shvila. She took out the wine, on his expense. Like they say, you park in the wrong place, right? They write, achone al cheshbono, you'll be evicted, your car will be taken on your own expense. On his own expense, she took all the wine and kicked it out where? To the shvil, to the street. Amar Ravuna Berdov Yoshua, Ravuna Berdov Yoshua supported the woman's move. He supported the woman over here. Kasher also quoted, it's not exactly a pasuk in the Novi, it's based on a pasuk in the Novi. Kasher also, Kenya also loy, what he did should be done to him. I think in English you say, give him a taste of his own medicine, right? Yeah, Gmulo Yoshu Beroishoy, his bad deed should go back to his own head. And now we go, now this is not just a cool story, we're going to see a very big yesod in halacha. And now the Gemara gets into the lachic details. Now you may say, wait a second, this lady, maybe she was a liar. She says I have no room to rent, and all of a sudden she had room, and once he was her husband, or so she thought. So there could be an easy answer. You'd ask me, do you have time, 20 minutes in the evening to walk with me and talk with me? No, I have no time in the evening to walk and talk with people. If my wife asks me, do you have 20 minutes? Of course I do. Depends who's asking. Yeah. So I'm saying, so for a strange man, she had no room to hire, to rent. For her husband, she has now. Now all of a sudden she changes her skin and she kicks it out. Lamaisa, she allowed him in. Maybe she should leave it there. As nasty as he is, Lamaisa, he was banking on her, having his wine by her. Says the Gemara. Let's say that chotzer is a place which is not meant, not suitable, not meant to be rented out. You ask me, Akiva, is your living room meant for renting, putting in wines? No. I'm not letting you to put a lot of boxes of wine in my living room, blocking the entire living room, right? Neither would you. It's not meant for that. So if the place is not meant for rental and she only rented and agreed to all these wines because it's her, so she thought, beloved husband, then of course she can kick it out because there's no love there. But let's say she had a place which is designated for unit. Let's say she had a machsan for rent, and she still didn't want, and then she wants. Why kicking him out? Just because you don't like him? You're a mischa. It's not so simple. Look at his side. Every story has two sides. Lamaisa, as nasty as he was, I would say, lady, you now told him your wine can be here, and you assumed it's going to be here for a long time, and the place is meant to be rented. Just because I'm not nice to you in our romantic life means you're kicking me out with the wine. Separate business and pleasure. Business, not the same. Business is business. Even though I'm not your husband anymore, but says the Gemara, no. It's not called midas dom. It's not called stam, with spite. Omrole, she can tell him, I'd love to rent out my storage space to everybody for the wine or the computers or the socks or the phones. For you, I'm not interested in renting out. Why? The domis alaki arya arba. You seem to me like a fighting lion. You're a person who's fighting all the time. I can see you're a nasty person. I can see you're a person who's not honest. Just like you're not honest in marriage, you may be dishonest in other things. I don't see you're an honest person. It's not some cause of being vindictive. I can see you're not a type of person. I have every right in the world do business with the type of people I want and not do business with the type of people I don't want. And it's not called midas not. Says Shulchan Aruch, that otherwise, if not for this real harsh case, let's say a person says a beautiful halacha here. Listen to this. And that will be the real, very, you see a story with a real clear halachic nikuda here. Let's say you had a friend, you're good friends, and you had business dealing, nothing to do with your friendship. You're great friends. You knew each other since yeshiva and university and army and your time together in NASA. You're very, very good friends. And now what? And you rent him an apartment or storage space for a year. 6 months into the rental, which has nothing to do with your friendship, he started getting nasty, calling you names, being nasty, loshanar about it. What happened? I don't know. Can I stop the rental, change the conditions? No. Business and pleasure don't mix them. Nothing to do. Because it has nothing to do with the rental. Stam, he became a nasty guy. You say hello to him, he goes, what? So then, Makesha, no. You're not allowed to stop the rental. However, and this is the moral, the halachic moral of this story, what happens if you told the guy, this is not a place for rental? Because you are my friend, you wrote or said in front of Adim, because you're my good friend from Cheder, because you're my good friend from wherever Esha Torah, that's why I'm renting you that rental space, which otherwise I don't. And in the middle of the 6 months, he became nasty. Then you can stop the rental because you specified and stipulated it's because of your friendship. That's pshita. Because one could still say, no, it wasn't mamshit tonight. The chiddush is one could still say business and pleasure. You say no. If it was mentioned that the friendship is part of the agreement, and now it's not friendship, we say that's what we learn from this story. He said, "I'm your husband." Ah, you're my husband. That's why I'm letting you. You're not a husband. I'm not giving you anymore. Rashbag says if it's a nachtom or a tzaba, meaning a baker or a paint shop, then 3 years they have to be warned in advance. Not a month, not 6 months, and not 12 months, entire 3 years. Why? Because they give credit of 3 years. Since they give credit to their customers, I don't know why a piece of bread would have a credit of 3 years. I guess everybody needs bread, loyada, and color. I don't know. But Lamaisa, they give very long credit of 3 years. They have to stick around for 3 years. Otherwise, they're going to move to a different town. Forget about the old debts. Yeah, they're not going to run after the customers. Therefore, they're allowed to have, they deserve to have, they're granted to have 3 years notice by their landlord. It's a wholesale. And Nachtum is a wholesale. I'm not sure Nachtum is always a wholesale, actually, but maybe. The Seder, maybe. It's also grains is wholesale. Seder. Tomorrow, I hope that the Shiur will be taking place. Let's assume it is. And let's assume it's in Gemara. There are chances that tomorrow, listen, what we can do tomorrow is do just the Shiur on the Shulchan Aruch of everything we saw today, okay? Halacha l'maisa of rentals, yeah? And some Divrei Agadata at the end, okay? That's one option. Or maybe we'll do Gemara. Because this afternoon, I will not be very available to prepare, but there will be Shiur tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be in the Gemara or maybe Shulchan Aruch and other topics. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Have a great day. Atzlacha uvracha. Thank you. Again, I don't think there's mamash a condition. If you're my friend, then yes. If not my friend, then no. Then you're right. Let's say it was thrown into Jose. Since we're friends, it's not a clear cut. It knows what's friendly, not friendly. Yeah, it's a chiddush still a little bit. Okay, shkoyach, atzlacha. Have a good day.